Hey everyone, this video is an extension of an article I just published over at defaultprofessor.com. You can check it out there, but stick around because I'll be going deeper into games as a social space, sport and esport culture, and how men can help to create a more inclusive culture for women to enter that space. Let's get to it. Games have always been social. Let's be honest, it's not as much fun to play Twister by yourself. Even video games have always been social, moving from arcades where people would gather to split-screen multiplayer games, to LAN parties, to online multiplayer, to streaming services like Twitch. Games bring people together, but that doesn't mean that everyone has always been welcome. First, I want to bring up the professional side of gaming. As a social space, it is unsurprisingly homogenous. I broke down a lot of statistics in the article, and I want to revisit a few of those here. Namely, in the Overwatch and Call of Duty leagues, two of the newest esport communities, there are 0 women on any of the 32 teams between the two leagues. League of Legends, the most watched esport, has 9 regions with leagues, and each region has at least 8 teams consisting of anywhere from 6 to 14 players each. Only 4 of them are women. 4. And 3 of them are on the same team in the Turkish league. Fortnite has been predominantly male, as has CSGO and Dota, and it looks like Valorant is shaping up to be the same. These numbers are important because they warrant a specific question. Why aren't there more women in esports? If it's true that half of viewership is women and nearly half of all gamers are women, then why does that not translate to esports? Natalie Denk, a research associate at the Center for Applied Game Research, lists 4 particular reasons women are underrepresented in esports culture. 1 is missing role models. 2 is fear of sexism, 3 is gender-specific socialization, and 4 is a skewed perception of girls as a demographic in gaming. But it's the socialization of girls away from gaming and sexism that tie everything together. As Ashley Birch and Rosalind Wiseman found, despite numbers contrary to this, 65% of women do not see themselves as gamers. But what does it mean to be a gamer? The simplest answer to this question is someone who plays games. But the more complicated answer can be found in places like Urban Dictionary. As girls are socialized away from video games or assumed to have no interest in video games, then the fiction becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Girls are steered away from video games, therefore they do not like video games. Denk says, in this way, stereotypical role models become entrenched. In the same way that girls are turned away before they are aware of these gender-specified roles, they are turned away even when they get to the games or through overt sexism and harassment. This is not something unique to gaming, but it does take a peculiar understanding of logic to understand. For instance, I can be bad at video games, but it has nothing to do with gender. But if a woman is bad at video games, it is because she is a woman. In this way, we see the two, both gender specification and sexism, working hand in hand to push women away from the social space of gaming. Because of these two things, we are naturally going to see fewer role models for women to look up to in the gaming scene. If they never get there because they have been turned away before they get to the door, or when they get to the door, it stands to reason that there will be fewer women for other women to look up to in the space. The same is true for the gaming industry as a whole. If women are turned away, then they won't be included in demographic data or considered for demographic data, despite the evidence that women are an incredibly important demographic for the gaming industry. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned Twitch. It could be argued that women dominate that social space just based on who is covered in media. But in truth, the only woman on the list of top 50 Twitch streamers is Pokemon. And that success has not come without its share of sexist garbage. How journalists deal with sexism in sports and esports matters. How women are treated and portrayed in sports and esports matters. Will they be represented fairly? Or will they be treated as a novelty for novelty's sake? Will they be asked questions about their process and ability or how they looked doing it? The simple question is, will they be taken seriously? The internet has created both sides of this example. There's tremendous work being done by women and men through YouTube channels or Twitch or other services to lift the voices of women in gaming. But the internet has also been a place where trolls and toxicity are left to fester, where women are torn down and harassed. To this end, how these movements are handled in the press, how accusations are handled in the press, and how the culture of gaming is handled becomes exceptionally important. Denk says women need gender-competent journalists. When sports are reported, male is almost always the default. A prime example is from Andy Murray's rebuke of a male reporter. Denk, Birch, and Weissman agree that games need to become an educational tool, not just to be privately consumed by children and adults. If we are analyzing our games for gender bias, or racial bias, or sex bias, or political and social bias, then we are more critical of the things we consume. Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe that's why you come back. If we see this in all aspects of our daily lives and the spaces we occupy, then it shouldn't surprise anyone that this exists in gaming. But what are we going to do about it? Men, I'm talking to you. Be more inclusive, and remember that if your success requires the subjugation of others, then the foundation of your success is weak to begin with. Thanks for stopping by, and until next time.